reaction, Fox News contributor Colonel Alan West. I think there were two mistakes here. Number one is that we didn't support the rebels earlier, as Leon Panetta and others recommended. And number two, that the president withdrew all our troops from Iraq, and we didn't provide the intelligence and training that they needed, and that paved the way for ISIS to take over. Your reaction?
No, you're absolutely right, Sean. The thing that we have to look at, the residual force where they're precluded, what ISIS really is al-Qaeda in Iraq that is reconstituted itself back over in Syria and came back into Iraq and has metastasized. Back in January, we were looking at a force of only about 1,500 to 2,000. Now it's a force that, as CIA estimates put it, over 31,500. And so when you go out and you announce that you're going to have these bombing strikes and bombing missions, and you give the enemy an indication, you allow them to harden themselves, and it'll be interesting to see what the battle damage assessment really is. I understand we're trying to degrade certain parts of their capability, command and control, logistical support, and training and recruiting efforts, but we also need to cut off the resourcing and funding by way of the black market oil that they are selling. We also need to make sure that we don't allow them to have safe passage for recruits.
For all that the president's doing here, or maybe won't end up doing, I don't like the idea that he's telegraphed certain things that he won't do, no boots on the ground, no shock and awe. But putting that aside, what about the president? Does he need congressional approval to continue this conflict?
Well, without a doubt, we're in a war, and by the Constitution, the only people that can declare war is the Congress. But it is very interesting that the president waited to take this action until the Congress had left Washington, D.C. I think that the Congress needs to go back, and the president needs to make his case before the Congress before we continue on with any more of these strikes. You cannot unilaterally commit the resources, the men and women, material, of the United States of America without having the congressional approval. We did that in Libya, and look exactly what has happened in that country.
All right, thank you. And coming up, you won't believe